In today's video, I'm going to be trying Graphitint pencils for the very first time. So look what I have here, still in the plastic wrapping. I have some nice Derwent Graphitint pencils. I know many of you use these. I'm really excited to try them. I've actually owned them for several weeks, but I haven't even opened the box yet because I've been so busy. So in this video, I'm going to try them out. So I'm going to do some swatches of the individual colours, and then I'm going to have a go at painting a little landscape. So keep watching and hopefully we can find out how to use them together. So just to prove I haven't used these yet, let's start by taking the plastic off and having a look inside them. And I've got a scrap of paper here. I've got an old brush because I always like to use an old brush for swatching. And I've just taken the lid off. There's more cellophane. Well, that's nice, isn't it? They're all wrapped up snugly, but let's take that off too. Is this what they call an unboxing video? Is that what this is? I've no idea, to be honest. Right, let's have a look. They're actually a lot more sort of colourful looking than I was expecting, because these are graphite pencils with some colour in, and they're also water soluble. So let's get to swatching them. So we seem to have some greys in here, but they look quite different to ordinary graphite pencil, more of a sort of a bluish tinge. So let's try this one here. And I'm swatching on watercolor paper because the main rule I go by is if you're going to apply water, you don't want to just be using a sketching paper. So I'm using a watercolor paper, but it's pretty smooth, because if you have paper that's really bumpy, certainly when you're using watercolor pencils, you can find that they just don't apply it very evenly. Now, I'm actually really impressed with that because it's dissolved a lot. There's not too much of the original lines left. Let's try this next grey, and I promise the colours do become more interesting. So this one appears to be more of a silver grey, and it looks lighter as well. So this is more like a graphite grey, but without the graininess, whereas this one, this darker one, definitely is more blue. Now we have a black. I don't know why, but I wasn't expecting to find a black in this set for reasons known only to my brain, but for some reason I didn't think there'd be a black. So let's try this. Yep, it's fairly dark, and just out of interest, just to see how they behave, I'm going to draw straight into this one as well and see how dark we can get it, because certainly when you're using most water-soluble pencils, if you draw onto a wet surface, they go quite dark because more pigment is released. So quite impressed with how dark we can get that colour. Now these are all quite similar so far. We're going on to the more colourful ones now. I've got this colour here that's called Stone. This almost has a hint of sort of lilac or brown. So let's try this one. Okay, so the difference is subtle, but I would say it's certainly a little more lilac than the others. Next, we're going on to the browns. This one is called Cocoa. So I'm just noticing they've actually got these names on the side of each of them. So that's quite a light, warm brown. I'll come straight below and we've got another brown. This one definitely looks much cooler. And in fact, the name on the side says Cool Brown. Do you know, sometimes I think I might be a genius. Look at that. That is a really useful colour. Very similar to perhaps a raw umber. I love a cool brown in a set. It's much more useful than a warm brown. This one here is Chestnut. So this should, I imagine, be a strong dark brown. I'm being sure to clean my brush between each application. Well, that one's really warm, isn't it? So a colour like this, although it's less commonly found in nature, it's going to be good for things like autumn shades. Next up, we have two greens. I'm already liking the look of this. I'm very fond of any kind of bright or lime or moss green. What's this one called? It's called Ivy. Well, that's nice, isn't it? So yes, this is a fairly natural looking, warm, lightish green. Let's try it again actually and see how dark we can get this colour. So even this lighter of the greens can be placed on sort of fairly strongly pigmented. Now I've got something that looks more like a pine green. This one's called Slate Green. Okay, maybe a grey green then. Let's try it. Well, that's a really beautiful colour. It's almost a blue, to be honest. but I imagine that we can mix these together. Let's have a go at that. Actually, let's try layering our darker green and our lighter green, and they mix extremely well. Now we've got a blue, so this is a dark indigo, so we've got kind of a dark moody blue, I would imagine. Almost looks like it has a hint of purple or grey in it. I should mention at this point that I'm not selling these pencils, by the way. There may be an affiliate link in the description. It's very unlikely to be an affiliate link in the description because basically I can't be bothered. They don't pay very much, and I have more important things to do with my time, like building online courses and making YouTube videos. Well, that's another really lovely colour. So what I like about these blues and greens is they're all very natural. There's no kind of emerald colour there. My next colour is aubergine. Of course, I would expect a warm, muted purple. That looks like that's what we're going to get. Now, I must say, so far, these do have more colour in than I was expecting. For some reason, and I haven't really looked at many pictures done with them, but for some reason I was expecting a lot more sort of grey graphite with a hint of colour, rather than these rather beautiful muted colours. And I don't see any reason why you couldn't mix them and combine them with watercolours. And the last one I've got here, I'm trying to read what this says. Port. Oh, it says port. Okay, so we'll imagine a red wine colour. And this is, in fact, our only red in the set. And we have no yellow, so not big on primaries this set. So they're not meant to mix any colour. They're instead going for these really natural, neutral shades that would be used perhaps in landscapes, but of course you could use them for anything. And this is a very plum-like shade. So there they are, all swatched. Now, the photo that I decided to work from when I do the little landscape sketch is actually mostly green. So that's going to be interesting, isn't it? But I feel like we could go into other colours as well, because why not? So now we've had a look at these lovely pencils, I'm going to make a little picture with them. And can I just remind you, please, to click that thumbs up, that like button. Really does help me with the YouTube algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe. This channel is fully cat approved and I have over 300 free videos on watercolour painting, drawing and mixed media. Now let's get back to the video. So I'm about to have a go at a little landscape, this one here, and I've got the world's smallest piece of stretched paper. Now if you look at the samples I've been making here, I hope you can see on camera just how wiggly the paper has become, and that's with not a thick watercolour paper, but that's with watercolour paper. So if you're using these in a sketchbook, certainly if you've got good quality cartridge paper, which is what we in the UK call a good quality sketch paper, if you've got a good quality sketch paper or sketch pad, sure, you can add a little bit of water, but you are going to get, at the very least, very wrinkled paper like this. So I've stretched this paper here. If you don't know anything about paper stretching, I'll leave a link to a video I made that shows you how to do it. It only takes a few minutes, but you have to let it dry. And now my paper is stretched. It may still bump a little bit while I'm using it, but less than if it wasn't stretched, and it'll dry completely flat. So I've got this picture here, and it's almost the same size as where I'm working. And what I'm going to do is just start by putting the horizon line in. It's always my advice when working in any particular medium to, if possible, do your underdrawing in that medium. So for example, if you're using watercolor pencils, I don't suggest that you do your underdrawing in graphite pencil. Same if you're using soft pastels, it nearly always shows at the end. And most of these water-soluble or smudgy mediums, you can just blend things in. So if you get your sketching wrong, it won't really matter. Just keep it light. And I'm going to start by sketching this out. So it's mostly green, so I'll start with a green pencil. I'm actually going to get an idea of a straight horizon line. I could use a set square, but I can also just use this here. I'm going to take it about 2/3 of the way up. I'm just going to make some little marks, and this is how you do a straight line that still looks hand drawn. So I'm going to take this across here. Now in my actual photograph there is a slight slope to this line, but that could just be because the camera was tilted when the picture was made. I'm also just going to indicate I've got this little bit of a river going on here. I'm just going to indicate that. There's also a small bridge over about here, and then we can see some water in the foreground. And there's also there's a couple of fence posts over here. Just going to change to, I think this is a blue here, so let's pop a couple of fence posts in here as well. And we've got some trees, so they start right up here in the distance, and we'll get them slightly smaller and closer together as they go away from us. That'll just give some perspective. And then we've got a tree line in the background, and I'm just going to roughly sketch where the more solid part of it is. We've also got sort of winter trees that come up higher than that. There's also part of a tree coming in here, but I actually don't think that adds much to the picture. I mean, you could choose to move it further in. On this occasion, just because I'm just trying these out, I'm going to leave that alone and just leave that out. And there's also some sort of foreground stuff going on here, bushes and such like, and things growing up. And as with any landscape, I'm going to start with the sky. Now I've only got one shade of blue here, so I'm going to start by just sketching this in, and what we'll start doing is laying down some underneath layers. So I'm using them in a very similar way to how I would use watercolor pencils. So I'm using the pencil on the edge because it'll just disperse more easily that way. And you have to be careful when you're doing this, you don't completely get rid of any lines that you were sort of using for reference. If you find those disappearing, you can always go in and work them a little darker. And also, because it's in the distance, I'm going to take a little bit of this cool grey here, just going a little darker along that edge so that I can see where I'm working. As I said, if anything starts to disappear, we can just go in and take it a little darker. Also going to take some dark green along this area because the tree line is much darker than the sky. And we're going to get sort of a soft edge between them. Let's just make that a bit more rounded in places. Now I could continue to sketch in across the whole thing, but I think to start with, I'm just going to add a little water to the sky. I've swapped to a better brush here. I'll put details of all the materials I'm using in the video description. Now it's important that I don't just, go straight the way down here and up and down and up and down, because all of this colour here would just spread into the sky and we wouldn't get any difference. So I'm going across first of all. And if I was working on a large scale, I'd probably choose a big flat brush for this. Coming down here, I'm just going to smooth out this sky because I want it quite flat, getting a little more water. And now I'm just going to start taking this darker colour across. Now this is one of the darkest areas of the picture, so I'm also just going to work in and get that contrast started there, and the idea of some sort of darker bushes and areas. So I'm working on wet paper now, and that will release more pigment. So at the moment these are behaving very similarly to watercolor pencils. Colours are of course a little more muted, and I'm just using a brush to soften any edges there. And before I do any more to this area here, I'm going to start colouring in this front part. So I can pop some light blue in this water area. I can put some light green across these areas here. And again, if I reach any area where I'm in danger of losing an element, I can just take a different colour or a darker colour and pop that back in. So I'm going to colour in an underneath layer across all of this foreground now. So in the foreground, I want some actual impressions of sort of leaves and branches and things. So I'm gonna, before I do that, I'm just gonna put some water across this area here, avoiding that little bit of river for now. Now, one thing I'm noticing while using these is that I feel like there's a couple of colours that I would really like to have in this set. I don't know if they do more colours, if they do a wider range of colours than the ones that are in the set. I haven't heard of that, but if you know about that, do let me know in the comments. But I really would like a turquoise blue, something, a bright blue that could easily then be mixed into this colour here, because we haven't got anything. Although I don't really want one of those nasty sort of emerald greens, it would be really nice if there was something that were more grass toned. So that would be good. And I really wish as well that I had a yellow, because a yellow will always brighten up areas of green. Look at that, that's interesting. We've actually got, I must have dripped, we've actually got a little back run happening there. So let's put this across here. And then I think in the foreground, I'm actually going to try and get some kind of leaf shapes, but I don't know. I think actually it might be better if I work onto the wet paint. So let's just wet this area first and then see if we can just go in with some leaf shapes. Now I'm impressed with the pigment, I must say. We've got some nice pigment going on here. And of course we can get, you know, things growing perhaps. I think it's more twig shapes than anything else. I'm going to pick up this portcolour just because I want a bit of colour in here. If you're not going to give me a yellow or a bright blue, I'm going to stick some red in. So I am. And of course blues always look lovely going straight into greens. Again, we've only got this one blue here, which is an indigo. So I've got areas down here. This picture is actually taken in the winter and it's obviously very frosty here, but that's not an option I have because I don't have those light blues. I'm also at this point just going to get that light area of water in. I'm going to keep that fairly pale for now, but I will go in next to it and just start to get this idea of riverbanks happening. I'll also work some more on the foreground. So have I put a purple bridge in? Yes, I have. I don't know why, I just felt like it. And what I'm doing here is I've just got this blue and I'm just making a few darker areas because water needs to be fairly light in order for it to look like water. I also threw a bit of brown in the foreground here. I'm finding actually that the paper's becoming, it's very cheap paper, I'm finding it's becoming a little sort of oversaturated and it's hard to get more colour in. And I'm getting the feeling with these that they're very good for just sort of adding a little colour to a sketchbook sketch. I mean, I feel like I could just, you know, use them in with watercolours, or because I often use watercolour pencils in with my ordinary watercolour paintings. Let's just take a little bit of shadow across the foreground there. When you're doing areas like rivers and even just landscapes, you want to sort of try and keep at least some areas, you know, always take them back to the horizontal because it just helps the landscape to kind of lay a bit flat. And certainly there's a lot more than I could do with this. I'm going to just pop a few trees in up here. Again, I might just pick this brighter red because of the colour palette that we're using. It's obviously no longer winter and it's now kind of, I think it's autumn now actually. And just to get that nice contrast, I'm going to take these trees up. I think these ones here, because they're a little closer to us, I'll do those in the blue. One thing I'm finding quite difficult with this set is actually seeing what the colours are when I'm picking them up off the table. Like some of them are really nice. This storm colour here is very nicely done. But, you know, this one here, perhaps it's just the appalling rainy weather here in the UK today. But, you know, when you're grabbing the blue as opposed to the black, it's quite hard to see which is which. I'm pretty much avoiding using black in this sketch. I'm not really a fan of black in landscapes, and I do use black actually. I often use it when I'm painting animals, but I wouldn't necessarily use it when I'm painting a landscape like this. I'll pop a little more detail in and then bring you back to have a look. So I think I've almost taken this little sketch as far as I can. I've just put a little bit of sort of light green on top of these redder trees, and I'm going on to what's now sort of fairly dry paper. And anywhere that you want a little bit more softness, you could just blend a little bit of clean water over the top. I think we want to get this line here a little darker. So overall, my impression of them is that they're a lot more colourful than I was expecting. However, they're also a lot more muted than standard watercolour pencils. I'd really love to see a light blue, a turquoise blue and a yellow in this set. But I think there's certainly a great way of getting a little bit of colour on a sketch, either so you can work it up later on into a bigger painting, or just if you're feeling a little bit gothic. So do let me know in the comments if you have used these pencils. Perhaps you've got some helpful tips for me. Or maybe you'd like to see me use them in other YouTube videos, do let me know. And before you leave this video, don't forget to have a look in the video description. I've got lots of good stuff down there for you. There's some free downloadable PDFs. There's even some free courses that you can take. And if you enjoyed this video, I think you must be probably quite interested in watercolour pencils, which work in a very similar way. You can watch one of my most popular watercolour pencil videos right now.